good now?
Try it.
Okay. We're good now. All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes from December 8th, December 21st, and December 28th. Moved by Dave, seconded by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor? Raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Melissa, department staffing requests, Department of Social Services.
Yes, good morning. Social Services has asked to backfill 2 caseworker positions. The first one is a result of a resignation, which was effective December 21st. That position was at the rate of $24.29 an hour. It would be backfilled at a rate of $23.17 an hour. And the second caseworker position is a retirement that is effective February 1st, and they would like to backfill that position. Currently, it's at a rate of $25.64 an hour. It would be backfilled with a rate of $23.17.
Okay, and I think these came through committee and been approved, and they've come to the Personnel Committee. I'll entertain a motion regarding the backfill of the 2 caseworker positions. Moved by Dave, seconded by Sue. Discussion. None. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next.
That is actually the only staffing request I have for this meeting. The other one for Social Services has been, we've taken that off the agenda for today. We're going to hold that off for a later date.
Oh, okay. So it's just those 2 backfills?
Yes.
Okay. Next, updates regarding the county administrator. Regarding the status of that search, I've been trying to keep you guys all in the loop via email. There was a packet mailed to each of you Monday afternoon or yesterday morning, which will include the job description of the county administrator and the resumes of the 8 people we are going to interview next week. If you haven't received them in the mail yet, I'm hoping you'll receive it in the next day or 2. If you get a chance, read through it all, especially the resumes, to get familiar with what they have. And our interviews start next Monday. We have 3 scheduled for Monday morning, 3 scheduled for Tuesday morning, and 2 scheduled for Wednesday morning. We'd like to keep them to an hour if we can. Hopefully in about 45 or 50 minutes we can ask some questions to get an idea how we think about these people, and then spend the next 10 or 15 minutes discussing them in executive session, move on to the next candidate. Obviously, there's a lot of information to take in a short period of time. I'm hoping we can get a feel for them. It's going to be very difficult to do it via Zoom. Typically, when you interview someone, you bring them into your domain, into your committee room, and you ask them the questions, and they're a little bit on the hot seat. Here, obviously, they're going to be sitting in their living room, a little more comfortable than normal, and we try to get as much information from them as we can on a Zoom call. We will do those Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Please take notes on the resumes. Examine what you wrote down on Thursday. I am going to request from the chairman an executive session after our Friday board meeting. We just had a board meeting a couple days ago. Hopefully there isn't a lot in the agenda a week from Friday. And we can then go into executive session and discuss the candidates in total and try to come up with a set of finalists or a final candidate. But I need everyone to participate collectively and to have everybody throw in their ideas and see if we can come to some kind of resolution. As far as what happens when we get to that point and head to the second round, that's something that Bob and I are still discussing. It may depend a little bit on whether we have 4 or 5 finalists or 1 or 2 finalists. So it's a bit of a moving target, but our goal is to try to wrap that up, to set the second round in the first week of February so that we can try to have somebody in place by the 1st of March. Regarding the county administrator situation, does anybody have any questions? Okay, well, if you think of anything, please send me an email and let me know, and we'll try to adjust, and everything's a bit on the fly. The second is the public health director and the status of that position. We received the submission of the letter of resignation from Patty Hunt. So she will be leaving us at the end of the month, so we'll have to have somebody in place right now. We have had some initial discussions on how we're going to fill that position. but we still are waiting for some guidance from the Department of Health. This is similar to Commissioner of DSS or a probation director, where they have to have certain state status. So before we can move somebody to that position, we want to verify with DOH that the people we're looking at can do that. Obviously, we're not in a position to start a major search to go out and try to find a whole lot of candidates and interview them and have somebody in place by the 1st of February. So we're working with some internal candidates. But before I go any further, Roger's got his hand up.
Matt, I was tasked with just making sure with Melissa that public health was on the same page with our immediate short-term goal, as it was explained to me, of putting KJ in charge. And I'll defer to Melissa because she had the actual conversations. But go ahead, Melissa. I don't want to.
Okay. Yes, I've been in contact with New York State Department of Health. They have asked for a letter, basically notifying them that our director will be retiring, and her intention is to retire as of January 31st. I did send that letter to the state. They came back and gave us a little bit direction as far as the vetting process. They would need to basically vet the candidate that we wish to appoint and approve that. So once we know of that, I need to send that information to New York State Department of Health, and I have a contact that I've been talking to there. They did tell me that if we have the current Assistant Director of Patient Services, if we appoint that person to that position on a temporary basis, there's no vetting process. She's qualified. She would be able to fill in. So that is good to know. I did send an email this morning just to confirm that I want to make sure that we are covered as far as if Patty's last day is January 29th. She confirmed with me this morning. So I want to make sure that, see if we can wait a couple days to have the new director in, or do we need to have somebody in effective the 30th? So I'm just waiting for some direction on that.
Okay. And so we're in that process now. Obviously, we're looking internally to make sure we can, meet the criteria to have people in place and to shore up that department. Obviously, with the explosion in cases we've had in Washington County, their contact tracing is very important, and they're a little overwhelmed with that, let alone the vaccine rollout. So we want to make sure that we provide whatever assets and resources we can to them to keep that moving forward. And certainly, we don't have really the time or the resources to get somebody else outside the department in place by then. And also, we want to keep some continuity in that department moving forward with all the things that we've got going on. So I'll have some more details regarding our process next week, but I just wanted to kind of give you a quick update on where we are and how we're trying to move forward and make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's and not running afoul of the state with our plan. Does anybody have any questions in that regard? So when we do talk about this next week, Roger, I'm guessing we will probably have to have a motion or a resolution from committee to the full board at some point prior to Patty leaving to appoint someone to be temporarily or from an interim standpoint to have that position filled the next day, correct?
Yeah, I guess that depends on what answer Melissa gets from do we need a resolution immediately then? Because as a deputy, is she a pure deputy, Melissa, or a peer assistant director?
Not a deputy. Yeah, no, her actual title is Assistant Director of Patient Services.
All right. So she doesn't step into the job automatically. So it might be prudent to have at your meeting on the 15th, a resolution appointing her effective the next, the day Patty leaves. And that way there wouldn't be a gap in the appointment provisions of it, if that's the way you want to go. And again, that's your day after Patty leaves solution. That doesn't keep you from having a longer term solution. That's your day after Patty leaves solution.
Correct. So we have the option of passing a resolution out of committee to get to the full board for the 15th to make that happen, or have a special board meeting towards the end of the month to make that happen, correct?
Right. Either one.
Okay. Well, I would normally not want to have a special meeting, but since we can do things via Zoom these days, it's not quite as intrusive as dragging everybody here to the county building. So we'll play that one by ear and have an update for you next week. Melissa, I'm not sure we had too much else on the agenda than that. Is that correct?
That's correct. We do not.
Okay, well, we'll make this one a short one today because next Monday is gonna be all morning and next Tuesday is gonna be all morning and next Wednesday is gonna be most of the morning. So, does anybody have any other business they wanna bring up, the personnel committee at this time? Well, since I see James here chomping at the bit to start IT, I guess I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the newly constituted personnel committee.
I can motion that now.
Motion's right. Second vote by Brian. All in favor of adjourning? Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Do you want to come up here, or do you want to stay where you are?
I can stay right here.
Okay, great.
You know, in the situation where the cases are increasing, I would prefer to not contaminate after you.
Okay. Do you have a mic nearby?
Yeah, I got a mic right next to me.
Okay.
Yep. And when we're ready to go, Deb, just let me know.
We're ready.
Okay. All right. So I'd like to call to order the January 6th IT meeting. First order of business is to accept the minutes from the December 8th, 2020 meeting. Entertain a motion to accept the minutes. So moved by Paul. Second. Second by Sue. Any discussion on those minutes? Any corrections? That being said, none. All in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay. County Attorney Roger Wicks, cybersecurity report. I believe an email sent out yesterday with the report as well.
Yeah, you got both a monthly report for December and a year-end report. So let's tackle the monthly one first. It was not unusual from what you've seen in other months. Pretty steady traffic across the board in terms of email and our security statistics. Actually, a little bit down, not a lot, but a little bit down after that big spike in November. The interesting thing we got in December was we got our first COVID-19 phishing attempt sent to some of our employees from an outside address that was compromised. Fortunately, we were able to work with them. I expect we'll see a lot more of those, especially as the vaccination program ramps up. There's a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding about how that's going. I'm not sure that even the state has a firm grip on what's going on in that regard. The guidance seems to change every day, so there'll be a lot of conflicting information going out. So I guess I would encourage anybody to talk to your constituents, talk to the people that you know, and mention that it's highly unlikely, if not impossible, that you're going to get an email from somebody that's not your doctor to tell you to sign up and schedule a vaccination anywhere, and certainly don't provide any personal information if you do so. So the other thing you got was your yearly transactions in graph form, showing your email statistics, which they're pretty consistent. We're sending out a lot of emails every month, coming and going here. Your security statistics, if you see them, we had 1.5 billion data points that we were looking at in our security statistics. And except for the two big spikes we had in April and November, which are not necessarily spikes in incidents, but let's say it's you have a trail cam and there's some months a lot of things are walking by it, and there are some months, you know, that not a lot is walking by it. But there are the ticketed incidents is what we look at, what generated enough interest for us to take a look at it, and those are again fairly consistent across the board except for July. And then if you look at our at the bottom at the remediation efforts, you'll see one thing you'll see is how elections started to ramp up, obviously, through October as we got ready for the election. And then since the election was so early in November sank back down, and then December election wise was fairly quiet. Emails have been, the email inquiries have been going up and down. And I think that's a function of, as we get better at recognizing these things, we generate more reactions into Karen and into IT. So whereas a weird email received by 5 or 6 people may have only generated one response to Karen saying, hey, I got a weird email. As we educate people, we're victims of not victims, but we're seeing our own success in that we're getting more people saying, oh, geez, this doesn't look right. And they're sending it in, which we want to happen. We don't want somebody to say, well, somebody else is doing it. And in almost every, I don't think we've got any false, I hate to use the term false positives, but we haven't gotten any emails that have not turned out to be non-legitimate. everything that's been reported to us is something, the threat levels varied, but they are in fact not legitimate emails that should have been coming to us. So we continue. You saw we got a couple different recognitions last year now. In 2020, Karen got a couple of them, including that one award from State and Local Magazine, I believe it was. And we're applying for the cybersecurity grant for next year. We're also becoming somewhat victims of our own success there because we've gotten it 3 years in a row. They're starting to gear it toward entry-level folks, and we are rapidly exceeding the thought of being entry-level now because of the level of our sophistication. So we're getting ahead of the curve on, at least in this area. And I think it's working very well for us. I think it's been an outstanding investment, as you can see from the data breaches that have happened all over the place. I'm not going to toot our horn too loudly because I don't want anybody to hear it, but I think we're doing a really good job in this area. Much credit to Karen, who's really taken this bull by the horns and run with it. And I think we're increasing our awareness quite a bit too. The employees are really responding to it, and it's something that they can take home, use at home as well, so they don't get compromised. And we're putting out public alerts, so it's something we can use to help constituents as well. So that's our update in a nutshell.
Thanks, Roger. I was speaking with Terry yesterday, and we were on the discussion of getting the rest of the emails off of the county webpage. Yeah, you want to speak to that real quick?
Yeah, we're talking about doing a redesign because some of the emails we've gotten, some of the spurious emails that we've gotten, you can see how they might have been harvested off our website. Some of our departments, through only in the encouragement of wanting to be freely able to be contacted, have put everybody in their department's email. So you can see sometimes when we get these not attacks, but these spurious emails, the list they go to is the list of everybody in the department versus my website. Since I don't work a lot with the public and don't have a lot of need to talk to the public, has one single contact email that's just my department at, WashingtonCountyNY.gov. And what I talked with Terry about was we've gone from the young era of the internet, which is we'll use this to push out information. We've now matured into, we've pushed out so much information that it can be used against us. So to be able to just give every department in the public, on the public email part of it, department at WashingtonCountyNY.gov, would keep our information from being just harvested by, I want to say robots, but harvested off the internet for bad purposes. People could still contact the department. It would go to whoever the department head designated. That person could deal with it, respond from their own email, so they knew they were talking to a person. And it might cut down on some of the traffic. Would it cut down on all the traffic? Would you even see a noticeable response it'd be a drop in the bucket of the billions of things that are going on, but let's not give too many people too much help if we can avoid it. And Terry said we're going to redesign our website in the not too distant future. So that would probably be a perfect time rather than going in now, fixing it and then fixing it again. Going in, doing it when we do a website redesign. She said it would not be a big lift to give everybody a department at kind of email. And it's just one more step we can take. You can still give out your email just like you give out your cell phone number to people you know and trust to do that, but it just wouldn't be sitting out there for folks to take and use. They can spoof it. They can send us things. And it's not hard once you see 3 or 4 personal email addresses, it's not hard to figure out what the pattern is.
All right. Thanks, Roger. Any other questions for Roger? I appreciate it. Thanks, Roger. Moving on to Terry. Hi, Terry.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good.
Just to add on to what Roger was saying, certainly when we do the website redesign, it's not so much that we're going to be changing only to department emails, department-based emails, but more the submission forms, so that no email address at all in any form is on the website. So it'll be forms where they can fill out a contact us form, and that will go behind the scenes to whoever the department determines it should go to. And that'll cut down a lot on any of those things. keeping in mind that a lot of the phishing attempts and stuff that we've had recently have been from free email addresses using the name of people, you know, which the names aren't going to go away. So those type of things won't get much better. But we have lots of layers in place to try to filter those things out. So hopefully we'll be catching most of them.
Thank you.
I can go ahead and share my screen and put the project list up on there if that works for everybody.
Please, thank you.
Get off with. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so there's not a lot of change in the project list. We've been really ramping everybody up to increase the remote working, which we still are. We're in the process of that. One thing that is a really good thing I wanted to point out was the Kronos project is now complete. We are live on the new timekeeping software and the new server as well. And we have just a little bit of closeout left. So I don't know if there's any questions on that, but that was one significant improvement that I wanted to mention.
Any questions? Go ahead, Dave.
So on the Kronos, I know one of the issues before was we kept some stuff in the financial software and there was a lot of information in Kronos. Were we able to streamline that and combine it so we're not going to two systems to get information?
Now we have to have two systems. One is our payroll processing system and the other is timekeeping. So those two things will always remain separate, but there is an interface between the two. In terms of streamlining the new timekeeping software, absolutely. We did a complete rebuild on the database. And I think that it's in a really good spot now, something that'll bring us into the future.
Right, because I was referring to is in Kronos, we had a lot of workarounds that created problems on the other side, the financial piece.
Yep. Yeah, one of our primary goals for rebuilding the new system and the new database was to be able to create automation so that people were not having to do manual work and manual moves, processing time cards, and really be able to automate things across the board. I believe that we've done that. And so really keeping focus with department heads and payroll clerks to make sure that it doesn't go back down that road in the years to come is going to be the challenge we want and that we'll tackle, is to make sure people, oh, well, it's easy, I'll just do this manually. When really, if we talk about it, stay in communication with it, and communication with them, we can continue to have a system that does the work automatically as it's supposed to and as things change.
Okay, thanks, Terry.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Terry in regards to that project specifically? All right, you can go on the rest of the project, Terry.
Yeah, I don't, the things we've added, I did take off a couple of the other projects we had already closed up. But additionally, we have some big projects coming up where we actually have the equipment ordered now for all of the patrol cars as well as all the DPW barns to replace them. That's a big one that's on the docket. It's coming forward. A soft phone installation, which I'm sure everybody is interested in, is testing. We have a couple of issues that we're still working with the highest level at this point with the vendor. And I'm hopeful that we'll have an answer back this week. Very hopeful. When it works, it's great, but we have the last couple of issues to work out. Does anybody have any questions on any of the other projects?
Don't see anybody with their hands up. All right, excellent. And any other information, Terry, that you have for IT?
I don't have anything else unless anybody has any questions about anything.
Go ahead, Dave.
Terry, before you got here, we had paid for that IT study, and I know that there are a lot of things on there you've implemented in either a recommended way or a similar way. Mm-hmm. Have you ever gone back to that study to see if there's anything else that we're missing or should incorporate, or maybe we have to go back and review again?
Yeah, so I have looked through that many times actually, and it certainly would be something we could review together in the future if you wanted to do something like that. I don't know how much of that, I'd have to, I guess, talk to you folks to see how much of that would be in the committee meeting versus an executive session type meeting. So, but we could talk. I'd like to go with that.
It'd be interesting to go back because we've come a long ways in the past. I don't remember how long you've been here, but since you've been here, we've come a long way and a lot of improvements made, but I think it would be worthwhile, since we invested so much in that study, to just go back and review it and see if there's anything that we change or do again or throw out or
Sure.
just revisit.
Prepare to do something like that for next month, if that would work, or if everybody is do that.
All right, thanks, Dave. Sue, then Brian.
Terry, looking at your sheets and listening to you is very reassuring. You would think that over the last couple months that you weren't moving people from building to building, nor was there COVID-19. None of that reflects your involvement in it, yet we all know that you've been instrumental in getting us up to speed and keeping us up to speed with the IT and keeping departments going. So thank you and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Second that. Thanks, Sue. Brian?
Yeah, so a couple things. First of all, back to what Dave said, we're not always good at acknowledging our accomplishments. And I think when we look back at that study, we should acknowledge the accomplishments we made as a result of that study, because that's pretty important too. The second thing is tomorrow's a busy day with finance, and one of the things that we talked about that'll be coming forward, and I don't think it's on our agenda, is Terry's capital reserve and moving money from last year's equipment to that reserve. So that's going to come up. So I just want to make sure that everyone that's on here now realizes that'll be tomorrow's agenda also.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Al, I think you also were about ready to put your hand up.
Oh, I just wanted to remind everybody that you're going to hear a conversation in finance tomorrow about bringing some of Terry's 2020 funds forward and establishing an equipment reserve. Just a reminder.
No problem. All right. Anything else? Any new business that anybody would like to bring to the committee? All right. With no new business, I entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Brian. Second by Sue. Thanks, guys.